Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do one of the things on the 460 that I've always been curious about and I've never really found a solution to until now. I think I've really got what seems to be a solution. I found it on an old forum from like '09, so we'll go over that right now. Basically what we're looking at is this airport. It was put in these heads, I believe. There's an air pump on the front of the engine, and using that air pump, it pumped air into these tubes through the exhaust port, therefore filtering the exhaust for emissions purpose, I'm assuming. Issue is, and I think everybody knows, they just end up leaking, or you just want to get rid of it and add a aftermarket intake like this one here. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to remove this and try out the idea that I have discovered when it comes to plugging. Basically, what I've discovered is there is a expansion plug, or freeze plug, some people call it. That's the right size, so I'll be able to pull that one out, and then I'll just clean up the area. I'll probably put a little bit of like high temp silicone around there just to help, and then we'll just tap that expansion plug in, and ideally with the name of the expansion plug, it expands along with the engine as it heats up. Therefore, it should always keep a tight seal and never come out. Obviously, they'll come out with age, but for quite a while, it'll stay in there. So here is the expansion plug pack. They're 43/64 as they're stamped on there. They were pretty hard to find. So here is the Napa part number, and that's the only place that I could find it, and they even had to order it from another store. So there's going to be quite a bit. There's my cat. There's going to be quite a bit of struggle. I mean, I would definitely, I doubt that you can find them, at least around me. Maybe someone else where you're at is able to find them, but yeah, like I said, I went to Napa, and this is what I'm working with. So again, like I said, I'm just gonna pull that old tubing out, clean it up, and we will test fit those, make sure it's going to be a snug fit, and then we'll seal them and tap them in. I guess the other thing maybe some people are asking is, why don't I keep the tubing like it is? So this one isn't leaking. The one on my old engine was leaking, but also when it comes down to this, I just don't like how that is. I mean, it just doesn't look good. What I want to do is simplify as much as I can, strip it down, paint it, make it all look super consistent. So that was sort of my drive behind this. But ideally, I think for everybody out there, it's just the best idea to do this to prevent leaks. Now the issue is going to be, if your engine's still in the car, then I highly doubt that you're going to be able to get a hammer back in there to tap these in. You can probably try, but I think that's mostly why people do what they've done on this, and they just either pinch them off or they'll cut the tube off and weld it. Basically cut it off here and then plug weld it. But the issue becomes, like, it always leaks right in here. Basically where this rotation is, there's room for air to get out. So it is what it is. This is just the route I think is best. So starting out, we're going to just pull this off. There's only one bolt, and it just has this clamp on here. I'm pretty sure like 90% of the time all these valve covers leak, and it'll run down here and keep this nice and softened up, so shouldn't be too bad. The bolt should come out fairly easy. I've already pre-loosened this one, but we'll go ahead and get that pulled out. As you can see, the bolt comes out, and then you're left with this clamp that holds the tube on, and then the tube just pulls straight out. You can see that there's just a little gasket on there. I mean, I'm sure it worked great for a long time, but just the older it gets, it just wears out. So I think I'm gonna stick to the route I'm going. So once it's out, you can look in there and you can see the carbon buildup just from the exhaust mixing in. So what I'm gonna do, also the hole's a lot smaller in there, so maybe there's another idea for plugging just the smaller hole. Maybe you could just tap that and thread a bolt. Not really sure though. But anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean as much of that out as I can, and then we're gonna fit this expansion plug in. It actually sits there pretty nice. I can tell that it's just gonna press in super clean, and then it'll look sort of like that when we're done. So I think the best way that I'm gonna clean it, I'll probably just use a wire brush for the lighter stuff, and just your normal flathead screwdriver, scrape out the heavy stuff. And we really don't need to go too far in. When you look at the plug itself, you can see it starts to taper in there. I don't know, it's kind of hard on video, but sort of starts to taper a little bit. So I think I'll just go a little bit past the flush surface, and if I think it's seated really well, then I'll stop and go from there. But we'll continue cleaning it up. And you may see some of my cats running around. They're just my shop cats. Well, there should be 5 of them. My wife just really likes them, so they stay around and we take care of them. They catch mice and everything, so they earn their keep around here. So I'm just gonna start cleaning. Doesn't seem too bad, it's already coming out. Just a little light brake clean. So I think we'll just scrape away, see what we get out. Ideally, we get it nice, shiny, clean, so we have a good dry surface to mate to. And it seems like it's not going to take us too long. And again, like I said, cleaning this out in the car or truck or whatever your 460's in might be a little tricky. But I think it can be done. It's just kind of one of those things of what amount of effort you want to put towards. Actually, now that it's clean, you can see in there. Maybe if it's still focused. It's not gonna focus, is it? Anyway, so inside of here, you can kind of see it, it's just furry. There's a little ridge in there, and I might end up actually pressing these all the way into that. Come on, focus. Focus, focus. There we go, okay. So you can see the ridge that's all the way in there. It looks like it's pretty flat all the way into there. You can see a little bit of carbon buildup here. But I think if I can get all that off, then we can do a flat surface all the way in there. All right, we got her all cleaned up. So you can see really clearly now that there's a ridge in there. So I'm definitely gonna try to tap the expansion plug as far into there as I can, and ideally it butts up against that, creates a nice tight seal on the front edge, you know, like so on the face, but then also around the outside. So I think that that'll be pretty good. Like I said, basically these are 43/64. Again, all I could find them was at Napa. And you can see when I push it in there, it'll stick really nice. Same size hole. Now all I gotta do is press it in. So what I found is that a 3/8 Craftsman socket fits perfectly inside of there. Nice and tight around the edges. So then our force will be around the outside edge, and then it won't concave and screw up our seal. So this should work really well. And I don't like hammering on my sockets, so I'm going to use this old, just this old snap-on, since they're lifetime replaceable. And we'll just pound her in there with the ball peen. Alright, so now we're going to just tap this on home, and from there, I think I decided against the silicone. I'm not 100%, but I think I would rather made it this way, just like you would do a standard freeze plug. From my knowledge, if you guys know better, comment. I'll pop these out and just get a new set now that I know where I can get them, but that's how I'm gonna do it. Your nice tight seal. When it's all up against that ridge, you'll feel the solid hit of the hammer. Now, look at that. Nice tight seal all the way around. And it's butted right up against that ridge in the back. So, super happy with that. I think it's definitely the way to go. Now I'll just repeat it on the other side. So this here's the other side. You can tell definitely how much worse the carbon buildup is. I mean, that whole lip. And that's what creates the seal. And I think, ideally, if these stay as tight as they're supposed to from the factory, that carbon buildup will create its own gasket, which is fine and all, but for our purposes, we're gonna plug it. All right, guys, we now have both sides in. The other side was a little bit trickier because of the buildup, but they're now both in. As you can see, we've got the passenger and the driver's side. Get nice and new in there. Definitely makes me feel better. I never really liked, please ignore this messy silicone. I never really liked how those were plugged. I don't really care for anything sticking out that's been welded or anything like that. So this works really well. But again, like I said, those are 43/64, and the part number to get the job done is 3812188, and that was from Napa. So hopefully that reference number helps you guys out to find them, and I will do a run video with this just to verify those. It'll be coming shortly, but we'll get there eventually. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If it does, please like. Feel free to comment if there's anything concerning that I've done up to this point. Again, I'm just learning like everybody else, just trying to make our way. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.